I've often felt that the moment we stop learning, something inside us quietly begins to die. Learning is not just about memorizing facts or passing exams. It's about staying alive to the world, keeping that spark within us burning bright. It's like oxygen for the soul. Every day you wake up, you have two choices: to live the same story again or to grow into a new chapter. And growth only happens when you allow yourself to learn. I remember someone once asked me, "How do you stay inspired when life gets so hard?" And I said, "Because I keep learning." You see, learning gives life its meaning. When you open your mind to new ideas, new perspectives, and even uncomfortable truths, you begin to see life in color again. It's like when the sun rises after a long night. Suddenly, everything that seemed dull starts to glow. That's what education does to your mind and heart. It brings light into places that once felt dark. But the beauty of it is, you don't have to sit in a classroom to be a student. The world itself is your greatest teacher. Every person you meet, every mistake you make, every story you hear, it's all part of your education. Sometimes the smallest moment teaches you more than an entire degree ever could. You just need to stay open, stay awake, and stay humble enough to realize that every day has something new to offer you. And yes, growth can be uncomfortable, because when you learn, you're forced to confront things you didn't know or things you thought you knew but didn't. But that's the beauty of it. That discomfort is the sign that you're expanding, that you're moving beyond your old self. Think about it. How many times in your life did a painful experience teach you the most powerful lesson? Maybe it was losing something you loved, failing at something you wanted, or simply being misunderstood. Those are all classrooms too, silent, rash, but incredibly transformative. We often believe that education ends when we receive a degree, but in truth, that's only the beginning. Life doesn't hand you a diploma for what really matters. It hands you experiences. And every experience comes with a hidden lesson, waiting to be discovered. The question is, are you willing to listen? Because learning is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong relationship with yourself and the world around you. When you commit to educating yourself every day, you start to grow into someone you didn't even know you could become. You start to understand people better, forgive quicker, and love deeper. You stop reacting and start reflecting. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. That's the power of daily learning. But it changes not only what you know, but who you are. So never stop learning, because as long as you keep learning, you'll keep growing. And as long as you keep growing, you'll keep truly living. Curiosity is such a beautiful thing, isn't it? It's that inner spark that makes you look at the world with wonder instead of judgment. It's the quiet voice inside that says, "What if?" or "Why not?" It's what keeps life from becoming routine, from becoming predictable. When you stop being curious, life starts to lose its color. But when you nurture curiosity, even the most ordinary day becomes extraordinary. Suddenly, the world feels like a place full of hidden treasures waiting for you to discover them. When you educate yourself every day, you are not just gathering information. You're keeping your curiosity alive. You start to see that learning isn't about knowing everything, but about asking better questions. The most intelligent people aren't the ones with all the answers. They're the ones who never stop wondering. And the more curious you become, the more deeply you experience life. You notice small details that others overlook. You hear meaning in conversations others ignore. You see lessons in places others walk past. I've learned that curiosity has the power to transform even pain into purpose. Because when something goes wrong, instead of asking, "Why me?" curiosity teaches you to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That one shift in question changes everything. It takes you from being a victim of your circumstances to being a student of your own journey. Suddenly, every struggle becomes a lesson, every failure a chapter in your growth, every disappointment a doorway to deeper understanding. Curiosity also breaks the walls we build around ourselves. It helps us see that every person we meet carries a story, every culture holds wisdom, every experience adds a new color to the canvas of life. When you are curious, you stop assuming, you start listening, you stop comparing, you start connecting. And in that process, you educate not just your mind, but our heart. You learn empathy, you learn patience, and you learn how to appreciate the beauty of diversity in people and in experiences. And sometimes curiosity is what keeps hope alive. When life feels heavy, when you feel lost, that small question, "What could tomorrow bring?" gives you the courage to keep moving forward. It reminds you that life still has something to show you, something new to teach you, something worth waiting for. That's what curiosity does. It pulls you toward light, even when you can't see it yet. The truth is, curiosity keeps your soul young. It keeps you open, humble, and excited about the journey ahead. It's the force that turns survival into discovery and learning into a lifelong adventure. So keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep wondering, because the moment you stop being curious is the moment you stop truly living. Failure. It's a word that most of us fear, yet it's the one teacher we cannot escape. We try so hard to avoid it, to hide from it, to pretend it doesn't exist, but the truth is, failure is one of life's greatest forms of education. It doesn't come wrapped in gold or dressed in comfort. It comes quietly, sometimes painfully, but always with purpose. And if you choose to listen to it instead of running from it, failure can teach you lessons that success never will. Every time you fail, life gives you an invitation to pause, to reflect, and to grow. Failure doesn't mean you're not good enough. It simply means you've been given a chance to learn something new about yourself, about your limits, and about your strength. It's a reminder that perfection was never the goal. Growth was. We often forget that the most successful people in the world are not the ones who never failed, but the ones who learned how to fail gracefully, learn deeply, and rise again with wisdom. I think we've all had moments where we felt broken by failure. When dreams didn't work out, when people walked away, or when we gave our best and it still wasn't enough. Those moments feel heavy. They test your patience, your faith, and your confidence. But hidden beneath that pain is a quiet truth. Failure is not an ending, it's a beginning. It strips away illusions, it humbles the ego, and it teaches resilience. The kind of strength no book, no classroom, and no teacher can ever provide. Failure forces you to face yourself honestly. It shows you what truly matters, who truly stays, and what you're really made of. When everything falls apart, you begin to rebuild, but this time, with intention. You start valuing effort more than applause, progress more than perfection, and purpose more than recognition. That's the kind of education failure gives, raw, real, and deeply personal, sometime. Yes, the lessons failure teaches are silent. It may teach you patience when life doesn't move at your pace, humility when things don't go your way, or gratitude when you realize how much you still have even after losing so much. Failure teaches you that growth isn't always visible. Sometimes it's happening quietly inside you, shaping your character and preparing you for something far greater than what you thought you lost. When you start viewing failure as a teacher instead of a punishment, everything changes. You stop fearing mistakes because you understand that every misstep carries wisdom. You stop being ashamed of your struggles because you see them as evidence of courage. You stop giving up because you realize that every fall is just another step toward becoming who you're meant to be. So don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of not learning, because failure doesn't define you. How you rise after it does. Knowledge has a strange way of shaping us. It can either make us humble or make us proud, and the difference lies in how we choose to carry it. True education never builds arrogance, it builds awareness. The more you learn, the more you realize how vast the world is, how deep human experience goes, and how little you actually know. That realization doesn't make you smaller, it grounds you, it softens you, it reminds you that knowledge is not a crown to wear, but a light to share. When you truly educate yourself, you begin to see beyond your own perspective. You learn that your way is not the only way, your truth is not the only truth, and your story is just one of billions unfolding at the same time. That understanding creates humility, the kind that allows you to listen more, to empathize deeper, and to respect difference instead of fearing it. Because real confidence doesn't come from believing you're better than others. It comes from knowing you have something valuable to give, while still recognizing that everyone else does too. I've seen so many people confuse confidence with superiority, but confidence built on comparison is fragile. It collapses the moment someone else shines brighter. Confidence built on knowledge, however, is steady. It doesn't compete, it contributes. When you learn for the sake of growth, not validation, you stop seeking applause and start seeking understanding. You don't need to prove how much you know. Your calmness, your kindness, and your wisdom do that for you. Knowledge also teaches you to be gentle, not because you are weak, but because you understand the weight of ignorance. You stop judging others harshly because you know that everyone is learning at their own pace, through their own struggles. You begin to replace criticism with compassion, impatience with empathy, and arrogance with awareness. The more you learn, the more you understand that strength is quiet and wisdom is kind. And maybe that's the greatest gift of education. That's easy. It doesn't just sharpen your mind, it softens your heart. It helps you recognize that we're all students in this vast classroom called life, each trying to make sense of our own lessons. And when you see life that way, it becomes harder to look down on others and easier to lift them up. Because true knowledge is never meant to create distance, it's meant to build connection. Every book you read, every conversation you have, every failure you learn from, all of it adds to your understanding. But understanding without humility is dangerous. It blinds you instead of freeing you. So let your knowledge make you kinder, not colder, wiser, not louder, and stronger, not superior. Because real education doesn't make you stand above others. It helps you stand among them, with grace. Educating yourself every day is one of the greatest acts of self-respect you can ever commit to. It's a declaration that says, I am worth the effort it takes to grow. When you invest time in learning, reflecting, and improving, you are not just filling your mind with knowledge. You are honoring your potential. You're telling yourself that you deserve to be better than you were yesterday. That's what self-education truly is. A form of self-love that doesn't always look glamorous, but it builds a foundation strong enough to carry you through anything life throws your way. So many people wait for the world to teach them, to motivate them, to guide them. But real change happens when you decide to become your own teacher. When you pick up a book not because someone told you to, but because you genuinely want to grow. When you listen to your mistakes, reflect on your experiences, and dare to ask yourself difficult questions. That's what self-respect looks like. Not avoiding the truth, but confronting it with courage and curiosity. Every time you make the effort to educate yourself, you are nurturing your mind and protecting your peace. Because ignorance doesn't just limit knowledge, it limits freedom. When you don't learn, you rely on others to define your worth, your path, your potential. But when you learn, you reclaim your power. You no longer wait for permission to grow, you give it to yourself. You become independent in thought, in emotion, and in direction. That's where confidence comes from. Not from what others say about you, but from what you know about yourself. There is something deeply empowering about realizing that you can always choose to learn. No matter where you come from, no matter what your past looks like, every single day gives you a new chance to start again. You can read something new, listen to someone wise, or simply observe life a little more closely. Growth doesn't demand perfection. It just asks for consistency. And when you show up for yourself daily, you begin to see transformation, not just in what you do, but in who you are. Self-education also teaches discipline, the kind that doesn't come from force, but from love. Because when you truly respect yourself, you stop wasting your time on things that drain you and start focusing on things that build you. You start choosing peace over approval, purpose over distraction, and growth over comfort. And that quiet shift, that choice to educate yourself every single day, becomes the foundation for a meaningful life. So never underestimate the power of learning for yourself, by yourself, and through yourself. Because every time you choose to grow, you remind the world and yourself that you are worthy of becoming everything you were meant to be. When you choose to educate yourself every day, you're not just changing your own life, that you're quietly influencing the lives of everyone around you. Growth has a ripple effect. The knowledge you gain, the wisdom you practice, the lessons you embody, they don't stay within you. They flow outward. They touch people who cross your path, sometimes without you even realizing it. You may never know how deeply your words, your actions, or even your attitude inspire someone else, but they do. Because education doesn't just shape a mind, it shapes a presence. And a learned, self-aware, compassionate presence has the power to transform others. Every time you share something you've learned, even a small piece of insight or a kind perspective, you create change. Maybe it helps someone see a situation differently. Maybe it gives them hope when they've lost it. Or maybe it simply reminds them that growth is possible. And isn't that what the world needs more of? People who remind others that learning never stops, that becoming better is always a choice, and that wisdom is something we can all share. The truth is, when you educate yourself, you begin to lead by example. You don't have to speak loudly to make an impact. Your consistency speaks for you. The way you respond instead of react, the way you listen with empathy, the way you carry yourself with quiet confidence, all of that becomes a lesson for someone else. People learn from how you live, and when you live as a student of life, open and eager to learn, you inspire others to do the same. Sometimes we underestimate the influence we have. We think, who am I to make a difference? But every person you meet is touched by the energy you carry. If you are growing, your growth encourages others to grow. If you are learning, your curiosity awakens theirs. Education, at its core, is contagious, and that's the most beautiful thing about it. The more you learn, the more you give without even trying. And as you continue this journey of daily learning, you begin to realize something powerful. You are not just learning for yourself anymore. You're learning for your children, for your friends, for the people who watch you from afar, even for the ones you'll never meet. Because the wisdom you gain today may become the light someone else needs tomorrow. And that light, once shared, never fades. It multiplies. So when you choose to educate yourself every day, you are not just becoming wiser. You are becoming a source of inspiration, a quiet teacher, a ripple of change in a world that desperately needs more learners and fewer know-it-alls. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep shining, because your growth is never just about you. It's about everyone you'll inspire along the way.